Everyone, I'm Supun. Thanks for everyone here for joining with my session on my startup Floweries. And apologies for the troubles we had. We are a little bit late, but let's go ahead and continue. And so my startup is named Floweries. It is basically a presentation platform. So the difference is that it's basically to create presentations that are awesome and that gives more interaction with the audience. So basically, you can't create boring presentations anymore with Floweries. So that's the idea. And the product is currently available at floweries.com. It is not launched, but you can go ahead and give it a try. Maybe there can be maybe some bugs and all those things, but I would really appreciate if you can go and have a look at, and if you can give any feedbacks before I really go for the public launch. So if I talk a bit about the technology side in this, it's basically developed as a cloud application. So there's a cloud backend, and there's all of these. The Floweries front end will be running on JavaScript on the web browser itself. So that's basically the technology side, and I have designed it in a way so when in the future when I have more and more users, that it will automatically scale, so that doesn't run into any problem with the performance or anything. So about a couple of weeks ago, I got an award for this Floweries product. It was at the National Best Quality Software Awards 2017, and I got a silver award for the Floweries, considering the innovation and the market potential and those all those things. So while I continue, if you have any questions or anything to clarify or any feedback, just feel free to put a comment, and I will try to answer them as I go on with this session. So if I talk a bit about myself, I'm currently studying for a master's degree at the University of Moratuwa, and if I even go back maybe for the beginning, and I think it was when I got my first computer it was around when I was, I think, grade 8 or 9, and since that I think then my brother, he was at the university back then, and he bring back a book about Visual Basic. So that's when I got my first, I think, the lessons of programming, and since then that book was about, I think, Visual Basic programming for games, and games in the sense they were like simple stuff about those crosses and tic-tac-toe kind of game. So that was when I had in grade 9, or as I can remember, me and my brothers were like used to do this coding and like experiment with this Visual Basic and to check what we can do with that. I think we didn't even had the internet back then. I think first internet we got was like the CDMA thing, and so the only resources we had was this book and all this basic documentation that Visual Basic had. And Then me and my brother had a little tutorial website going on with some tutorials on 3D Max and all those things. So back then I was into those graphic stuff as well. So and I think it was going fairly well for I think maybe a year and a half. But then I think we couldn't pay the hosting and we somehow lost it after a while. And I think then when I joined the university and I came to the Department of Computer Science, and since then I was doing all those stuff, and I can remember that we had this long vacation kind of period because we had this non-academic strike going on for about 6 months or so. Then at that period I was developing a kind of a Facebook game. So that was called Business Lante, and it was like called developed in Sinhala, and it has this nice graphics and everything. I did then, but unfortunately nobody played that. So after a while, it's just, I think it's still even there, the page, but the game is there and the hosting is not there. So the game won't work, but the page is there, I think. And then we try to kind of me and some of my friends try to develop some kind of product with our final year project, and we even went to some of these competitions, I can remember, but they didn't went on any further than that. And I think during the last semester of in the university also, I got the idea about Floweries. So that came when I saw at that time I think I saw a website with there's this single page website, and I can't remember which one, but I saw a nice website with a single page layout that you can scroll and it will like show some product or whatever thing in a nice way. So then I had this idea that if we can have this might be a really good way to present something, maybe a product presentation or whatever things you have. So I was thinking now, if I can develop something that that we were like bored seeing all these slide and bullets or these PowerPoint presentations. So if we can have some different way of presenting things, that might be very interesting. So after I graduated, I joined a company, and I was working from like 8 to 5. And when I came to my boarding place, and I started researching about this and what are the like other products available for alternatives for Floweries, and then I started developing little by little. So the basic first thing I can remember what I did was trying to create those little elements, text, and this kind of thing that I can drag and create. And this was back in 2015. So, and little by little I developed these things. Now it's around 2.5 years since I started developing this. So now it has really become this my startup. And last year in November, I think I quit my job and started doing this full time with my master's going on. So I have a fair bit of time to do this as well. So now the Floweries is we're pretty much close to the launch. There are little things that I would like to just before I would go for a public launch. But as I said before, please go ahead and check on floweries.com. It's what you can do with that, and if you find anything, just give me a feedback, and I would really appreciate that. And when I joined, there's one thing I forget to mention. When I graduated from the university, I actually started another startup with some of my friends, and it was not related to this one. It was basically about creating, taking projects from clients and implementing software. And it was going on for about a year, and then there were some issues with the partners, and I realized that this is not what I actually wanted to spend my time on, and then I had to quit, and that was around the latter part of last year. So they were like, so after that I had no idea what I'm going to do, and I also had a couple of surgeries going on at the same time. So I was really in a bad mood at those times. Then I went talk with Dr. Indika in my department, and it's like I consider him as a mentor in many cases. Like when I'm not sure what I'm going to do, I would always go to him, and he'll always give me some advice and these kind of things. So that's why I end up with the university again, and I'm doing this again. And the beginning of this year, I met another couple of individuals from the university with this Mora Ventures program, Nemasha and Chetia, and they had a startup going on that they have started about 1 year ago, and it was, and they invited me to join with them as well. So I joined with them with their startup 91 Solutions, and I'm working on that one as well. So we have we have a physical office nearby to the university, and we even had a couple of interns hired for about 6 months, and we have fewer clients and projects that we get from the small and medium enterprises, and that we implement some business solutions for them. So I actually share my time between that startup and my own Floweries as well. And so for Floweries, I forgot to mention now. The initial plan is to I'm going to offer it as a free service for everyone in the beginning, and maybe when I have a fair amount of user base, I'm going to introduce a premium packages, so that I will provide some more content, like the Floweries have some sticker packs, shape, infographics, that kind of thing. So what the free users get, and the premium users will get more content after, like the Floweries get to some level. So that's how I'm going to monetize this platform. And so if you have any questions, feel free to ask I'll happy to answer them. And if I have to mention some other things, like we have with the other startup that I mentioned, 91 Solutions, like we have many challenges that we face, like we think that starting something and actually having an office is the hard part, and actually getting the clients and those projects. But even after getting your clients and having sustainable amount of projects, that you still have to face some challenges, like we are, even nowadays we are having a problem with finding suitable talents to uh, talented people to work with us. Like about 6 months ago, we hired a couple of interns from like private universities, and like they had a nice looking CVs, but when we actually hired them and started assigning them tasks, that we realized they are actually not good as we expected. So we had a really big problem, because I had to spend time like explaining everything to them, and so I could have done the same thing without them then. So when you actually have them, you just can't ask to leave them. So it was a very challenging thing. And then recently we started looking for another couple of interns, and uh, when you try to look at those CVs, that, and when you actually do something, a task or something, that you really can't find many people that you can actually do this job. And we even hired one individual, and like the last week, and he came to work in the first day, and the second day he called and say he's not going to come again. So that's the situation we are having, because we don't have any luxury facilities, so nice looking office, but we can't manage at this time. So Dinet Nimant is asking what was my motivation to develop Floweries. As I can remember, I think, as I said, that I saw a nice looking single page website for, I think, develop for a product or something. And those things that you scroll down in a single page and everything will be in that page with animations and all those things. So I think that was when I realized this might be a very nice way to present something, especially maybe a product presentation or a business presentation kind of thing. So actually, I can't remember. This was about 2.5 years ago. I think that's where I had this idea. So Dinet Nimant is asking what's my future plans. So my future plans is the get Floweries launch as soon as possible, and now it's like we're pretty much ready for a public launch, but due to some various things, I have been dragging it for a little while, but I need to like launch it as soon as possible and do something to get users, the initial user base. And one more thing was like when I had this my first computer, I think it was the same time that I started watching wrestling in those VCDs. We and my friends used to rent those things to watch WWE. So I think watching WWE had a very great impact on me. I think that's why I wanted to do these kind of big things. I so I think that's where my inspiration comes. So Hasita Senaviratne is asking what's unique about Floweries and comparing what's the differentiating between products like Prezi. So I think what makes Floweries very different from these products is like Floweries is very simple. If you like take Prezi, they are like it's very easy for a novice user to get messed up with Prezi because if you kind of see most of the presentations done with Prezi, they will like overuse these animations and all these zooming effects. So and it will very be it for amateur user without it will be like they will try to use all those things and it will be very easy to get the audience distracted. So with Flores, it's there are not much things and the settings are very easy. So it's just drag and drop and just maybe only a couple of clicks to do these animations and like that. So the presentations are like simple and even it's very simple to create and the created Flores presentations are also very simple. And Dinet Nimant is again asking what type of server I'm using currently. The server, the backend is powered by the Google Cloud, and so all this data and they are saved in the Google Cloud, so they will automatically scale when we have more users. So I don't have to worry about that. And I also have a PHP Apache server as well that the website is pretty much going on with that one. So that's pretty much cheap for me. Otherwise, Google Cloud is also very cheap, but I'm not going using the to host the website and all these other things. And I would have to give maybe a little advice for people that are looking for entrepreneurship and doing startups. That is that you have to know a bit of everything. I think in the sense that you need to have a if you're doing something in the IT sector that you need to have some background in the graphic designing and all those things because my background really helped me because everything in Floris, if you take from logo to UI, UX to even the color themes and everything, I did them, and so having the Photoshop and all these graphic designing software and everything helped me really well. Otherwise, when you're doing a startup, you can't really spend money on those things for a third party. And even for Floris, but I have used some of these sticker packs and things like that from like royalty vectors and those kind of things that I have made sure that they are not like pirated things and almost everything is taken like royalty free or open content. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask them. And one more thing, we will be at this Infotel exhibition in a couple of weeks, I think from November 2nd to 5th or something that we have a stall at the Startup Pavilion in the Infotel exhibiting our 91 solutions and my Floris product as well. So if you are visiting the Infotel please come and to the startup pavilion and have a look at our products and maybe have a chat with us. So, like, if there are no other questions, I would like to wrap up my session. And so I would like to ask again, please go and have a look at my Floweries product and have something created with it and give me a feedback. I would really appreciate that. And if you are coming to Infotel, please come and visit our stall as well. So thank you for joining me today for this session, and I would like to thank Sustainable Education Foundation for giving me this opportunity. So good night, everyone. See you soon.